They let El Chapo get out of his penitentiary to go see about his knee? No.
Jay-Z is sharing a new statement after the civil case accusing him and Sean Diddy Combs of raping a teenager was dismissed.
Big breaking news tonight. For the first time in the history of New York City, a sitting mayor has been indicted for crimes.
A former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs speaking out in the new interview with new allegations about wild parties and drug use.
They are going to be watching basically for hours on end in front of people.
He says he's being targeted because he's a black man and the charge is rooted in...
A shocking new audio leak has surfaced, allegedly capturing a conversation between Diddy, Jay-Z, and his son. But what Diddy reveals in this recording will leave you stunned. Did he have any knowledge about his looming hospitalization? And what deeper connection does Diddy share in all of this? The truth might be more explosive than you think.
You think I wasn't gonna get at you from the inside?
He has reached out to a witness, an alleged participant in multiple freak-offs.
Then why Oprah staying quiet? Why Ellen moving to another country?
And he's asking people to intimidate witnesses or pay people off.
Don't be shocked if nobody show up to testify. Don't contact me anymore, pup. I already got that Houston lawyer breathing down my neck over that 13-year-old girl. If you don't want things to get worse for you, then you need to start answering my son's phone call.
The defendant's goal is to blackmail victims and witnesses either into silence or providing testimony helpful to his defense.
New York is having a problem with leaks in this Diddy case, with alleged video of the court hearings already on the internet and leaked phone calls where he's calling witnesses. Things are getting out of control and you won't believe what he says on these calls. Recently, the DA released that Diddy was contacting witnesses from jail and they were saying this is the reason that he shouldn't get bail. He was using other inmates' phone calls to three-way people who would then call the witnesses, and that's who he spoke to over the phone. Also, in a weird turn of events, the DA who brought these charges against Diddy is suddenly resigning from his position during the biggest case of his career, and that is strange. So let's break down this insane phone call that we found online. Legal disclaimer, people, I'm just a guy that reacts to stuff I find on the internet. So as right now, everything is rumors, gossip, or opinions of others. Everything in this video is
Just weeks ago, Diddy made a bold promise to his son, assuring him that he would soon walk free and that he had one last major surprise in store. Then, in a mysterious turn of events, Diddy underwent a late-night MRI at a Brooklyn hospital before being unexpectedly released from detention on February 2nd. But the real shocker? Within just a week, his entire case was dropped. What really happened behind the scenes?
They let El Chapo get out of his penitentiary to go see about his knee? No. He had to dig an underground tunnel and leave on a motorcycle to get out of there. So why is Diddy getting raced out in the cover of darkness, we keep hearing? Why does he get the cover of darkness? Why does he get taken out because he needs an aspirin? Help me, Dr. Hendricks.
Well, I'll tell you, each inmate gets a physical within 14 days of their arrival at any facility. And I'm sure, based on reports of him having several knee surgeries throughout the years after being a marathoner back in 2003. So this may have been in the works in terms of getting him out for an MRI, because I know that they don't have that equipment at the institution. And I'll just tell you this, they probably had set this appointment up months, maybe weeks ago, and they set it up for the evening.
To leave at 1 a.m. in the cover of darkness. Okay, you think that's what they set up, Hendricks. Look, I know you're being loyal to MDC, but can we get real? Leaving MDC because your knee hurts? Have you seen that POC?
Jay-Z is sharing a new statement after the civil case accusing him and Sean Diddy Combs of raping a teenager was dismissed. The woman who filed the lawsuit back in October accusing Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and Combs of raping her after an awards show in 2000 when she was 13 years old. Both Carter and Combs have denied any wrongdoing. According to a new court filing, the case was dismissed yesterday after the accuser's withdrawal. In a new statement shared through Rock Nation, Jay-Z wrote that the claim hurt his family and loved ones, writing, quote, "I would not wish this experience on anyone." Adding, the frivolous, fictitious, and appalling allegations have been dismissed. This civil suit was without merit and never going anywhere.
Listen closely to what he tells his son. Was this a clue that he knew he was about to be released? Did Diddy see it coming all along?
Diddy's prison phone call just leaked and it was posted by Social Details. This is allegedly a call that he had, and there's a lot of talk, a lot of code words in there, so we're going to listen to it together. Check it out.
Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm going to need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes leftover.
Now, this alleged leak call from Diddy in prison was talking about getting rid of pizza boxes. Now, if you know your stuff and you're privy, you know exactly what pizza stands for, and that's probably what they're talking about and referring to on this alleged leak call. Pizza, for those who don't know, I'm gonna make it very clean. It has to do with children and selling.
Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about.
Now, in this alleged phone call, he starts talking about someone named Jay. People are speculating that may be Jay-Z, but there's no confirmation. At the same time, he talks about recycling plastic. I don't know what that could mean. If you guys have any idea, comment and let me know.
Everybody out there quiet as motherfucker. Yeah, exactly. We gonna let them have their little fun, but I'm still gonna have the last laugh.
I mean, it seems by the call that he's looking for help. He's saying that a lot of people are quiet, I guess people that are on his side, and that he's gonna have the last laugh at the end.
Man, just do what I told you to do, and don't forget about the list.
And then he goes on to say, don't forget about the list. And we don't know what that list is or what that implies, but this is pretty crazy. Do I think this is legitimate? There is no confirmation yet if this is legitimate or not, but this is the alleged leak call.
Was Diddy's release part of a bigger plan against Jay-Z and himself? If so, who gave the green light for his sudden departure? How is it possible that someone as dangerous as Diddy was allowed to walk free in the dead of night, especially when prosecutors are fully aware that he's been trying to reach out to witnesses? Shockingly, his call logs reveal a disturbing truth. Diddy has been making threatening calls to victims. Who's really pulling the strings?
This morning in the sex case against Sean Diddy Combs, prosecutors now claiming that from behind bars, Combs has been trying to reach out to victims and possible witnesses. And ABC's Phil Lipoff is here now with this story. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Gio. Diddy's lawyers trying for a third time to get him out on bail, but this time, the prosecution telling the judge about attempts they say the rap mogul made from behind bars to influence everyone from potential jury to alleged victims. This morning, prosecutors leveling new accusations against Sean Diddy Combs, saying he poses a serious risk of danger even from behind bars as he awaits trial. In a court filing late Friday, prosecutors detailing the steps they say Combs is taking while locked up to reach out to prospective witnesses and influence public opinion to affect potential jurors.
The accusations within the prosecution's motion to deny bail are very serious and will be considered very heavily by the judge, because the judge is going to want to ensure that he is not influencing witnesses and or contacting anyone to influence a trial in any way.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution, and sex trafficking. He denies any wrongdoing. The government now asking a judge not to grant Combs' third request for bail, in which the music mogul offers a $50 million bail package citing new evidence and changed circumstances.
This was supposed to be an open and shut case, yet shocking new details have emerged. Jay-Z's lawyers were allegedly caught on tape attempting to bribe witnesses, even going as far as impersonating FBI agents with fake badges, a blatant federal crime. But despite this damning evidence, Jay-Z's case was mysteriously dismissed. Who is really pulling the strings behind the scenes? And could Diddy's close ties with the mayor of New York have played a role in this unexpected turn of events?
Now in a new lawsuit, a Texas man is claiming Jay-Z's lawyers are bribing people to sue Busby and his law firm. This 13-page lawsuit was filed on January 3rd in Harris County, Texas, and the plaintiff in the filing is being represented by none other than Busby's law firm, who filed the suit on his behalf. Now Jose Maldonado, who is the plaintiff in this suit, is suing Jay-Z's attorneys and his company Rock Nation, but not Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z himself. According to the lawsuit, the defendants in this suit are Marcy Bryan Croft, her law firm MJ Legal, Rock Nation, and the law firm who is representing Jay-Z, Quinn Emanuel Urquhart and Sullivan. They allege the defendants conspired to obstruct justice by engaging in shadowy operatives to illegally get more than 24 current and former clients of Busby Law Firm to turn around and sue them. The suit claims Rock Nation is financing this alleged effort, while attorneys Marcy Croft and the law firm Quinn Emanuel are orchestrating this whole thing. According to the suit, the defendants' agents were pretending to work for the state of Texas and allegedly flashed fake badges.
If he was a part of that, How the f he get the key to the city? That's crazy to me. If he was in incidents and everything around the city that wasn't favorable, how you get key to the city? So now you got to realize, if they had the mayor under investigation since 2014, Diddy was in investigation around 2011, 9 or 11, something like that. They say he's 9 or 11. One of those people are responsible for the feds looking out after one, or either Diddy responsible, his interaction with the mayor, or the mayor interaction with Diddy may have caused the feds to be looking at both of them in some form or fashion. I don't know which one was first. Was it Diddy interaction with the mayor, or the mayor interaction with Diddy? Which one did the Fed have under surveillance first? And I think it was probably Diddy.
Just before Mayor Adams faced indictment, Diddy suffered a massive legal blow, losing a staggering $100 million lawsuit. But here's the real question. Why are these two, allegedly close friends, being targeted at the same time? Could this really be just a coincidence, or is there something bigger at play? Despite knowing Diddy was under federal investigation, Mayor Adams still handed him the key to the city. Was this a desperate attempt to salvage Diddy's crumbling reputation? Or is there a deeper connection hiding in plain sight?
News tonight, for the first time in the history of New York City, a sitting mayor has been indicted for crimes. ABC News reporting that Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted by a federal grand jury. We do not know yet the exact charges. Federal authorities have been investigating Adams and members of his staff, issuing subpoenas for documents and cell phones. Several members of administration have resigned, some of them also friends of Mayor Adams. Again, Eric Adams, the 110th mayor of New York, has been indicted by a federal grand jury. We'll have the latest online and tonight on Eyewitness News at 11.
New at 5, the legal troubles continue for Sean Diddy Combs tonight after a judge ordered the music mogul to pay $100 million to a Michigan man who says that he was sexually assaulted by Combs in '97.
According to court documents, Derek Cardello Smith says Combs drugged and then assaulted him during an after party at a Holiday Inn in Detroit. But Combs never responded to the lawsuit in court. On Monday, the judge ordered him to pay $10 million each month starting in October. The victim is currently behind bars serving a 75-year prison sentence for criminal sexual conduct and kidnapping.
The newly released NBC News documentary has sent shockwaves through the industry, featuring explosive testimonies from Diddy's closest associates. His former senior executive assistant, who worked for him from 2019 to 2021, made a disturbing revelation, alleging that Diddy coerced him into sexual acts as proof of his loyalty. The accusations don't stop there. Diddy is said to have forcefully grabbed Pines by the shoulders, massaged him, and then pushed him toward a woman on a couch who was already prepared with a condom, urging him to engage with her. The details are chilling, but just how deep does this go?
Happened at these lavish, drug-fueled nights called Wild King Nights. So this 32-page lawsuit, which was reviewed by multiple outlets, including Rolling Stone, was apparently filed in Los Angeles by a man named Philip Pines, who says he worked for Diddy from 2019 to 2021. So actually more recent than some other suits we've seen against Sean Combs that have been in the early 2000s or even the 90s. But according to reporting in the suit, Pines is alleging a few different things here. Now, before we even get into it, and there is a lot to get into, you might be wondering, what the heck does that name mean? What are we talking about when we said Wild King Nights? Well, part of this lawsuit alleges that Pines had to prove his loyalty to Sean Combs, who was dubbed the King, by performing sex acts for him, hence the name Wild King Nights. The suit even reportedly says that Pines was treated, quote, like an animal playing fetch in order to prove his loyalty.
A former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs speaking out in the new interview with new allegations about wild parties and drug use. Eva Pilgrim is here with the story. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Michael. At this point, we've all probably heard about these infamous parties. Diddy's assistant now giving us details about what he says were called Wild King Nights.
This morning, new details allegedly inside Diddy's world before his shocking arrest. The entertainment mogul now behind bars for federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges.
It was a circus. He did whatever he wanted. And we were just at his disposal.
Phil Pines was Diddy's senior executive assistant from 2019 to 2021. He says his then boss asked him to purchase supplies for parties dubbed Wild King Nights.
We usually had a laundry list of items that included lights, alcohol, marijuana, ketamine, malt. Those requests started to become more frequent.
Pines claims many of these parties involved younger women.
A lot of times you would have him with a younger female, and there's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to reel in. Consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand.
As soon as Pine's shocking claims went public, Diddy fired back, announcing a $100 million lawsuit against NBC over the explosive documentary. But that's not all. Reports suggest that 50 Cent's highly anticipated documentary is facing significant delays, and the reason is even more disturbing. Allegedly, Diddy is doing everything in his power to silence the victims, desperately trying to bury the truth before the world learns what he's really done. How far will he go to keep his secrets hidden?
Diddy Combs sues NBC for $100 million over its Peacock documentary about him. According to docs obtained by E! News February 12th, the Bad Boy Records founder filed a lawsuit against NBC Universal seeking $100 million after Peacock, the streaming service owned by the media company, released the documentary Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy. In the filing, Combs, who is currently in jail on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, accuses NBC Universal of defamation and alleged that the company maliciously and recklessly broadcast the documentary, which included claims that the rapper committed crimes like serial murder and sexual assault of minors without having a shred of evidence. The filing reads, in making and broadcasting these falsehoods, among others, defendants seek only to capitalize on the public's appetite for scandal, without any regard for the truth and at the expense of Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial.
This entire situation just keeps getting more intriguing, because no matter what Diddy does, his bizarre recordings will inevitably be played in court for the world to witness. UORS has confirmed that the tapes presented as evidence during discovery will be heard by the jury, exposing the truth once and for all. What's even more shocking? Some of these recordings have already been played before a grand jury in a separate case. And here's the twist. Courtney Burgess, a close friend of Kim Porter, was the one who handed these explosive audio files over to the FBI. The question is, what secrets do they hold?
The trial starts and the jury sits. Will they be shown these tapes?
100%.
Will they have to watch it in court? Like during the
100% in court in front of a room of people. And so that's the other thing that's awful. They are going to be watching basically porn for hours on end in front of people. So in front of victim one, whoever it may be, there's going to be porno played in the federal courtroom.
And victim one would have been made aware of this.
Oh, 100%. She's probably being told right now, like, this is going to be played in open court. Your sex history, your sex life is going to be talked about in open court. All of this.
And presumably then she knows that and she's pushing forward because she hasn't withdrawn.
But don't forget this. It doesn't matter if she does or she doesn't. This isn't a civil case. This is the criminal case. So she could flat out tell the federal government, I don't want to participate. And they can say, we don't care. This is a crime. Crimes are against the United States, not against them. Keep calling her victim one, but don't forget, she's a witness to a crime. So it doesn't matter if she went to them in today and said, I'm not participating. Their response, we don't care. Get your ass on the stand.
Tupac's ex-girlfriend Desiree Smith just gave a shocking statement. During an episode of The Art of Dialogue, Desiree dropped some true Diddy-related bombshell.
In a jaw-dropping revelation on The Art of Dialogue Tupac's ex-girlfriend, Desiree Smith, exposed shocking details about Diddy's dark past. According to Desiree, she personally knows victims of Diddy's alleged assaults, including one horrifying case where a woman was brutally beaten after he drugged and attacked her. Even more disturbing, this act of violence reportedly took place right in front of his own security team, all as twisted revenge for catching him in a compromising situation. The question now is, how much more is being hidden?
I know a lot of people that know him. I met one of his old security guards and I've been to the tea about him. Weird shit, liking strap-ons. I met this girl one time that did a photo shoot for him. It's a nice young lady from Canada. And me and her ended up going on vacation together. And a few months later, she told me something that she saw go down at his house in the Hamptons. And then a few months later, she told me that she went hanging out with like his bodyguard and his entourage, and somebody drugged her and she doesn't know what happened. So none of this is alarming. And then she went back to Canada. So.
And how long ago was this? Was this in the 90s?
This was in the 2000s, maybe like around 2004, 2006, somewhere around there. He's been doing.
Despite the shocking revelations and damning evidence, including a chilling video of Diddy brutally assaulting Cassie, many of those closest to him continue to stand by his side. With the truth unraveling before the world, the question remains, why are they still protecting him? What power does Diddy hold that keeps his inner circle so loyal, even in the face of undeniable proof?
I seen was people fucking each other, kissing each other, getting sucked, getting ate. I seen all that. That's typical though. So I don't understand how freak-offs can be a crime when everybody just gonna be fucking on each other anyway. A bunch of rich people snorting coke and fucking on each other and drunk. If that's a freak-off, then I like to go back to it. I like to go back to a freak-off. I like fucking celebrity business, and that's the fun thing about the freak-offs. In my time when I was there, it was like celebrities was fucking each other, like all the movie stars and all the actresses was fucking like it was nothing. They was on that powder heavy, but they was fucking, hey, how you doing? What's down with you? Oh yeah. That's how I was. So I liked the freak off, so I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but it was fun to me when I was young and I was there. It was fun to me. I was a kid in a candy store looking at all these actresses that you grow up watching, you hear them, and these sucking dick and fucking and doing powder and all types of wild.
Backed into a corner, Diddy is now playing the race card, insisting that the allegations against him are nothing more than a targeted attack on a successful black man. He claims that his enemies are fueled by jealousy, determined to tear him down and tarnish his legacy. In a bold move, Diddy's legal team is pushing for all charges to be dropped, arguing that racial bias is at the heart of this case. But is this a genuine defense or just a desperate attempt to escape the growing mountain of evidence against him?
Sean Combs asked the judge in his federal case to throw out one of the charges. He says he's being targeted because he's a black man and the charge is rooted in racism. I look at Combs' argument and his chances of success. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Sean Diddy Combs wants one of the counts in his federal superseding indictment thrown out. Combs argues he's basically being singled out by federal prosecutors because of his race and his success in business. The charge he wants the judge to toss is
Diddy now claims that his life is in grave danger behind bars at the MDC. According to him, fellow inmates are targeting him, seeking to take him down over the disturbing allegations of pedophilia. The conditions inside the prison are reportedly horrific. Detainees are allegedly served food infested with maggots, making survival even more unbearable. And in the brutal prison hierarchy, wife beaters and child predators rarely last long. Is Diddy truly fearing for his life, or is this yet another attempt to manipulate the narrative?
But the conditions of the prison are far from homey, notoriously described as, quote, dreadful, as one judge put it. Some on the bench have even moved away from sending nonviolent defendants there. In April, a group of detainees that prosecutors said were MS-13 gang members in court documents stabbed an inmate 44 times in an attack caught on camera. 2 shivs were recovered from the attack. You see them here. The victim survived. And in the last 3 years alone, 4 inmates have died by suicide. And violence is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees. At least 6 staff members charged with crimes in the last 5 years, according to the AP. Some accused of accepting bribes and providing contraband.
You know, no jail or prison is expected to be a 5-star hotel. We know that. But it's not supposed to be a house of horrors either.
Yeah, the troubled and violent Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn housing Sean Diddy Combs raided by the feds today. They're investigating poor conditions, rampant drug smuggling, mounting violence, and repeated inmate deaths.
Eyewitness News reporter Darla Moss live at the scene in Sunset Park with what's really going on, Darla.
Well, Bill, the Bureau of Prisons will only say this is an interagency operation to maintain a safe environment, but sources tell ABC News that inmates are not the target, and attorneys who've been seeing clients here for years say the timing is very curious.
According to prison consultant Larry Larvine, Diddy's life at MDC is anything but safe. Inmate X and many others housed there are violent felons serving life sentences, men who wouldn't hesitate to stab Diddy at the first opportunity. The facility is a dangerous mix of white-collar criminals and hardened convicts, where stabbings are a routine occurrence. To make matters worse, MDC's management has a dark history, having been convicted in 2019 for attempting to cover up an inmate's death. With such a brutal environment, the question remains, how long can Diddy survive behind bars?
Going to put some bars of soap in a sock and boom, they're going to pop him over the head and split his head open like a watermelon. They cannot GP him at all. There's a better chance of Jesus appearing in front of us right now than him making general population. He's safe where he is at. There's no reason to move him. And this nonsense about him getting bail, they're never going to give him bail. He wants to go to Essex County, New Jersey, to go to a cushy jail there. Remember, he's not a federal inmate. He's a U.S. Marshal detainee. So they just house him at MDC. And in order to send him to Jersey, they would have to transport him back and forth several times a week with like 6 marshals. They put him in one car, and there'd be a car behind him and a car in front of him. They're not going to do that. So his life essentially at this point is just screwed.
It is not getting good reviews. I mean, not that it should, but you know, there should be basic human rights. And this place has faced intense scrutiny amid a spat of vicious inmates, you know, going after each other badly, complaints about dismal living conditions, including maggot-infested food, filthy cells, power outages. Apparently they go weeks without any sort of heat, which is, you know, not good, especially as the cold rears its head. These apparent conditions were brought to the spotlight during the trial of Maxwell. You know, I can't say the full thing, you know, the notorious Madame of Jeffy, when her attorney ripped the facility for the reprehensible and utterly inappropriate facilities. She complained about using the bathroom, which was an open sewer drain, rats running around, rotten maggot-infested food, freezing temperatures for roughly a week when an electrical fire caused all the light and heatings to go out in the building. Apparently, violence-plagued federal lockup made headlines when it was hit with the claims that the staff had allegedly covered up a knifing at one.
There you have it. This case is far from reaching its conclusion. The real question is, how much longer can Diddy outrun justice with his powerful connections and mounting list of crimes? With each shocking revelation, his legal troubles only deepen, ranging from bribery allegations and explosive testimonies to courtroom chaos and secret hospital visits. As the walls close in, is it only a matter of time before the truth finally catches up to him?
All these ladies at a party, you know, for years, P. Diddy's gotten a hall pass. He's actually created his own kingdom where he makes his own rules, and you got to follow his rules or you get penalized. And guess what, Laura? He's now in a federal penitentiary, and for the first time in his life, he's facing his own fate at the hands of somebody else. And I will tell you, Laura, I've done federal cases, that's not the place you want to be in federal court. 90% of federal criminal indictments brought down are pled out, right? A plea deal is brought. And of the only 10% left, 90% of those defendants that go to trial, they lose. So he is looking at a daunting uphill battle to fight these horrible charges.
Now, Brian, one of the DHS agents involved in this raid on his Miami mansion described what he saw inside the house, saying that, in my opinion, he's as bad as Epstein. These women are young, either barely...
And they have cause to bring it.
Is Diddy finally out of moves, or is he still pulling strings from behind the scenes? With everything unraveling, is this the beginning of his downfall, or just another chapter in his carefully crafted game? One thing is certain. This story is only getting wilder. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's dive into the discussion in the comments below.